The Vegas Forward podcast delves into the lives of the people in our community, uncovering not only what they do, but who they are. Business may keep our city strong, but it's the individuals that continue to create, innovate, and push Vegas forward. Welcome to the first episode of Vegas Forward. Today we have Michael Sherwood, the Chief Innovation Officer at the City of Las Vegas. Michael, we had you down here because I'm always reading your content on LinkedIn, and you're always talking about innovation. And our podcast and our goal of our podcast is all about the future of Las Vegas and where we're going. And I know we're in a little rough patch right now, but to say the least, right? But we'd love to have you down here. Want to learn a little bit about you. So maybe you can kick it off and tell us a little bit about your background and your role at the company as well.
Sure. Number one, it's great to be here. Show one. I can't believe it. I made it to the big time now. I finally got to a show, and they picked me to be first.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm extremely humbled to be here today. And,
awesome.
Love everything that you guys are doing here at AdLava and what you're doing. And,
appreciate that.
That is awesome. A little bit about me. I've been all over the place, a little bit here and there, everywhere. But started my career back in the day, in technology at least, working for a company that made knee braces.
Okay.
American Gladiator. I'm an old guy, so
yeah.
There used to be a TV show, so I actually worked on making knee braces for the TV show.
Oh wow.
And we actually developed a computer program that would allow you to type in the dimensions of your leg, and then we would custom fit a brace to fit your leg.
Oh, interesting.
And that's kind of the entry into my computer career.
How did you fall into that?
Well, I was working for that same company on the manufacturing floor.
Okay.
And for a long time, they wouldn't hire anybody. They always hired from the outside. They never hired anybody internal or gave anybody a chance to move up.
Sure.
And so this one gentleman, I can't remember his name, really nice guy, he complained. They fired him, but then they came out with this thing of, hey, anybody downstairs want to apply for some jobs? I said,
I'm the guy.
I'm the guy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I took a test. They had a little test for us, and we took it. And the HR lady came to me and she said, "Hey, you did really well on the test." I was shocked. I didn't, I'm not a good test taker, but she goes, "You can do accounting, sales, what were the accounting, sales, HR, and then they had an entry in IT."
Yeah.
And I just asked her. I remember playing as like it was yesterday. I said, "Hey, lady, what one pays the most?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "A computer operator pays $650." I said, "I'm in," and that's how I got my start.
That's how old were you back then?
Gosh, I wasn't even 21. I was about 19.
Okay.
Fresh out of hire school.
And so where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in Irvine, California, right outside Newport Beach. I'm basically a skater surfer.
There you go. Okay, it makes a little more sense now.
Yeah, no, my parents were very disappointed because I didn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to the beach.
Okay.
Surf, skate, do cool things, hang out.
Do you have any siblings or other families?
No, after they had me, the doctor told my parents, knock it off, dude. This is it. No, the world
we had one.
The world cannot take another Sherwood. This is it.
See, I got two boys. So after the second one, I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. So that's plenty.
Yeah. No, well, I have two kids as well, and I don't want a third. I'm good with two.
Yeah, and so you went to USC.
So I went to, actually, we'll make it a short story. I dropped out of high school when I was younger, and I started my own business. And grew that as a landscape construction company, and grew it really big. And it was just, I was really young, didn't know how to manage a business, and in a business eventually failed, which led me to the knee brace company because my cousin was a supervisor there, so I was able to get on board.
Yeah.
And they needed a bunch of fresh people to build braces.
Okay.
But so I actually had to go back midway through when I was in computers. I would go to school at night, so I went back and got my GED. From there, I went back and finished my undergrad work at a community college, and then transferred to Pepperdine.
Okay.
And finished my bachelor's with Pepperdine, and then immediately after that went to USC for my MBA. And then I've been kind of shopping around. I started my doctorate at UCLA, kind of gave up on that.
Okay.
Switched to a couple of other schools, went to Pepperdine for a little bit, and now I'm in flux. I'm trying to go back to Pepperdine to finish up my doctorate.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can make my kids call me
Yeah,
Dr.
exactly.
Sherwood. And everybody else calls me Michael, but you guys will call me Doctor.
Exactly. So, at what point in your career, in your life, did you realize that you had a passion for technology in general? Was it at that Gladiators gig or?
No, I've always had a passion for it. So, I mean, back in the day, for some of your listeners, they're not going to know what we're talking about. You're going to know, but
sure.
I had my Atari 2600. I had a Commodore 64. I had old, growing up, those were the computer things of the time, the digital age of the time. And I always loved that type of I was never going out and get dirty type of guy. You know, I wanted to be inside and have my Mountain Dew and play video games. And almost my son's almost, you know, the same as I am today.
Really?
Back in the day. But no, I've always been excited about technology. Even when I went into mainframes and was my start of my career, technology always excited me. It was always one because you get to help people. People, you know, back in the day, they were learning how to use WordPerfect. You know, hey, Michael, they call me on the phone, and it sounds funny today, but you know, I don't know how to print.
Yeah.
No problem. It's Control P. Thank you.
And back then, everything was a lot harder,
back then
right?
It was hard.
Yeah.
No one had computers. They were used to typewriters. So, I mean, it was so fulfilling to run around and help people all day on their PC. You know, in the beginning, DOS and Windows was just coming out. We had Lotus and WordPerfect and all these tools that are pretty much gone today.
Yeah.
But in helping, what was fun helping people. Secondly, I can learn things, and it was a machine. I could tell it what to do, and it actually listened to me, and it did what I asked, and it was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, not like a wife or a girlfriend, right?
No, I'm always wrong. It's like an error in my programming.
Exactly.
But no, so it's always something that's really excited me.
And you know what's exciting too? It always changes. Like it's never static. It's always evolving, and so you always got to the education with technology is never ending.
Well, I'm that shiny quarter. You know, anything that's new and sparkly.
Yeah.
Boom. That's what I want to do. And then when it gets old, get rid of it. I want something new. And at least in this field, it's always changing.
It always is.
And it's so broad now. I mean, you and I both work in technology, but in complete spectrums.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of great people in technology as well. It's a great community, even in Las Vegas. I mean, we're going to talk more about Las Vegas, but
sure.
You know, it's always been a strong technology area. It's not known for that.
Exactly.
And it's growing. I would say in the last 5 years that I've physically lived here, it's continually been improving.
It has. Especially the last few years. I've noticed a big growth in technology and the companies that are here and things like that.
Just the whole mindset of the area. I think a lot of it starts, you know, unfortunately with Tony Hsieh's passing, but you know, he was really the founder of putting Vegas on the map for technology. So, but very interesting. But no, I've had a great career. You know, I did go through a small part in my career where I quit technology altogether.
Oh, really?
And I went to law enforcement, and I was
really. I didn't see that on your LinkedIn.
It's on my LinkedIn.
Is it?
It is on there. I was so I left. I was I went from
like a PR firm or
so I left in the beginning the medical firm and went to work for the largest PR firm in California. Most people know it as Franklin Storza, but the real company name was Storza Zigas and Metzger. It's a mouthful.
I wrote it down, but I'm not going to try to repeat that.
Nah, don't worry. You know, I learned a lot. I had great mentors there, a lot of great leaders. But it was great because I got to work on projects that most people have never heard of today. But bridges over Madison County, that was one of our big things. I worked on advertising campaigns for McDonald's and Ford, and so big advertising. So I had a lot of almost 2 years of full advertising ad agency experience.
Okay.
It was my first. I look at the Mac here, and I used to despise. I was a PC guy at the medical firm, the Brace company, as mainframe PC. I went to this ad agency, and it was like hell. It was all Macs.
Yeah.
And these people were all creative and wanted to do these things, and we had at the time it was the name's escaping, but it was the all-in-one Mac, the first Macintosh, actually the one with the monitor built in.
Yeah.
Oh, those things were horrible, but everybody loved them, and they all had to do their Adobe products and Illustrator and all these.
I was a PC guy too, and my whole staff made fun of me forever. I got the Microsoft Surface when it first came out.
Yeah.
The first day I opened it, came out of the box, pressed the power button, didn't turn on. So I was on support with like some guy in India for about 8 hours to get it to work.
You know what? I will say over all the time, and now I'm in my 40s now, I've finally made I still love PCs.
Yeah.
But my true environment, my personal equipment, while I have PCs at home, I do use all Apple products now.
They're amazing.
You know what? It's about time. Apple works. It makes things simple. I get things done.
Yeah.
I don't need to do jailbreaking, all this other stuff.
All this heavy
overclocking, and it works.
Day-to-day average use is nothing better.
It works.
So.
But so I left medical, went into I worked for the city of Oceanside. So I left advertising. Advertising was fun. I liked it. It was great because that firm was about 120 people, like 4 men. So it was for me as a young man, barely 21.
Yeah.
It was a dating scene that I could never ask for. I never had that ever again.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But I left that and went to work for the city of Oceanside. It was basically there at the time called data processing. We evolved from data processing into IT.
Okay.
And I did, it was a great place. I learned about fire operations, water systems, everything that runs.
What was the role over there?
I was IT manager at the time.
Okay.
They didn't, the term chief innovation, chief technology, chief anything.
All the fancy terms. Yeah.
Nothing. I was just a boring old
IT guy.
And that's what they called me.
Yeah.
You're the head head IT guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I was there, and I was there 16 years. And, after 16 years of doing technology every day, I'm like, there's got to be more to life.
Yeah.
I got a master's degree at this time. I had all these things. I'm like, I got to do something else.
Yeah.
So I quit technology and went back to my hometown in Irvine, and I applied to be a budget manager.
Oh, interesting.
And so I got hired as a budget manager basically for the police department. And so I worked in the police department. I did budgets. So it was.
Did you enjoy it?
In the beginning, yeah. For the first 2 or 3 months, it was different.
Yeah.
Then I started complaining every day to the chief that how poor the technology was
Archaic,
in Irvine.
probably.
This is horrible.
Yeah.
You guys have no technology.
Yeah.
And so over time, they made me an administrative manager. So I ran the dispatch center, the 911 center.
Yeah.
I ran records, evidence. It's like CSI kind of. Doesn't look anything like the TV show, but I did a lot of the admin, all the things that the officers didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I got to do. So I became the business services manager.
Okay.
And I ran all the business services, and I kept complaining and complaining. Finally, my boss, he's a great mentor, a great guy. He's now chief of LAX, the airport. But I just kept complaining to him, and finally he took me over to the city manager and said, "Hey, we got something for you."
Yeah.
What do you got? He goes, "You're going to be the very first in the world." Like, what? First of what? I love being first. It's like being here today.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're going to be the first deputy director." So I actually had a badge and everything.
No kidding.
So I was the first deputy director of public safety. So I ran the entire police department's administrative function. And they go, "Guess what?" I go, "What?" "You're going to also be Irvine's chief technology officer."
Yeah.
So I had 2 roles. I was running a jail
and
police at the same time. I'm leaving one meeting about people, being arrested and all these things.
Kinda,
and into another meeting about how we're going to architect the future of Irvine's technology.
That's crazy mix. It's funny how you can't circle back to your passion. Like you tried to leave it, and then you went somewhere else, and it came out again. Yeah,
it always
There's no
comes
escaping
out.
it.
I will
right?
never leave technology now. Now I love it. I'm entrepreneurial. I do some things on the side, no. So I did that for about 5 years, and police work was fun. It was an interesting change. Technology is my passion, and so when my chief left to go to another organization, I went out looking, and that's what brought me. I already had a house here, so I bought a house here right after the market collapsed because I needed an escape. When you work in the police department, you want to get away, and you don't want anybody to know who you are. So I go, "Hey, I'm just gonna come to Vegas."
Plus, it's so close. So,
it is. Yeah.
45-minute flight or 4-hour drive.
So we came out. So we bought a house out here, and it was our summer house where we come out and just kind of, and it was very inexpensive at the time.
Oh, especially
Yeah. So it was great. So I come out here, so it made sense when the Vegas opportunity came up. I love this town. I love this city. I've been coming here before I was 21. Probably shouldn't talk about too much of that, but the rules used to be really great out here. You could come out here, you wouldn't have to be 21, and you got all the benefits.
I remember.
It was either Tijuana or Vegas. And so, after a while, Mexico wasn't as fun anymore.
Yeah.
Vegas was always fun.
Exactly.
And so I started coming out here. So it was a natural fit.
Natural fit to move out.
What's funny is...
What year was that? 08 or 09?
I bought my place out here, I think, right in the end of 08.
Okay. Perfect time to buy a house,
it was,
too.
Oh, it was beautiful
the best,
time. Yeah, best time ever. But it's really funny. The odd thing is that... So one of my best bosses at Oceanside was my boss for majority of my 16 years there. Was the city assistant city manager at the city of Las Vegas.
Oh, no kidding.
So it's just weird.
Small world, yeah.
Small world. How I eventually we kind of rotated. I'm going to where he was.
So
at one time.
I noticed looking at your resume on LinkedIn, you have a wide mix of public and private sector kind of work. And what are some of the differences between the two? I mean, they're vastly different, correct?
They are vastly different. The people on both are amazing. I guess what I like about government is helping people.
Yep.
So I have a passion for helping people. What I like about the private sector is I want to do things faster in government. Mm-hmm. I'm that guy that, I want to do things right.
Yeah.
But I want that private sector. Let's get to market first. Let's do things first. I think that shows in what we've been doing in Las Vegas from technology.
Oh yeah.
I like being first. Not about me being first, but about the organization I'm with being a trailblazer.
Exactly.
Being out there. So I like, but the people the people are great in both. I love the service of government,
yeah.
But I like the ability to be entrepreneurial on the private side.
And I remember when we first met, I noticed that about you. It was like not a typical,
Hopefully
like,
you didn't
this
hate
doesn't
me.
seem like a director of IT type of guy, you know, because you're always trying to do new things and be unique. And when we worked on that project with you guys, it was always about not feeling like a government website, you know, making something iconic and unique. And
I
so
want it to be friction. I use the term frictionless a lot. I hate when I expect my life, and I think all of us do. Look, Uber's successful because it's an easy. You get the concept. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
And so simplistic and understand. I want government to be
It's-
that way, where it's not a barrier or a challenge.
It's consumer focused.
It is consumer focused. It's
Yeah.
easy. It makes the government should be here as a partner, not an adversary.
Correct.
And so that's the passion I have to drive. I'm already getting excited right now. The passion I have to drive. It is taken sometimes the wrong way. My peers around me in government.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I don't know what they think of me sometimes. I think sometimes I like to take me to the desert with a lot of other relics and bury me off. But they take it the wrong way. That's not what I'm about. I'm about change. I'm about making things better,
Evolve and improve.
Which is why I like working with you. And this isn't something. This is just you and I talking here.
Yeah.
But I like working with companies that are pushing the envelope, pushing the edge. Even if we disagree on some of the technology components.
Sure.
It's really about the overall end product and making government. And that's the key is, can we make? I know we can. It's just finding the right people and getting people that work in government to change.
Exactly.
Which is odd. They in their normal life, they use Uber, they use Amazon, they love that. Then they go to work, and it's government.
It's
I
not thinking outside the box.
Gotta find a way to meld that together.
And so, do you see any differences between the three, Oceanside, Irvine, and Las Vegas? The way that they functioned, or things you learned at each location that's a little bit different.
They're all unique in their own way.
Yeah.
I love all three of them. I love Irvine. I was born and raised there. They do some things really well. They're very conservative. I love Las Vegas because Las Vegas doesn't matter that if you're government in Las Vegas versus government, I would say in California, it is Vegas. We do big things. We build big arches and put neon
over
on
the
them.
top.
We do over the top, and I fit into the over the top world more than I do
the beach town.
The beach. No, I still like the beach and the conservative.
Sure.
I still love the surf and do those fun things. But no, I think Vegas is just a whole nother level. And I see so much more potential here in this valley. It doesn't matter if it's City Las Vegas. I don't care. North Vegas. The valley as a whole. The people, the diversity. I see more diversity here.
Yes.
I see more culture here. I see more unity here. And I see it when you take all that together. I see Las Vegas. I mean, people make fun of me. They challenge what I say. And I think I will be right in the end. Las Vegas may never be San Jose.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, we're not going. But will Las Vegas be a city of the future? The answer is going to be yes.
I agree 100%.
And it's going to be technology. You will know Las Vegas for certain things of technology.
Yeah.
And it's happening already today. So it's exciting. But government, for the most part, the functions of government are the same. I wish it wasn't, but they're the same.
Well, it's very departmentalized, and that's one of the challenges, right? Is everyone has their own silo in a way.
Yeah.
So it's not like a traditional free-flowing, nimble type of business. It moves a little slower, right?
But it does. But as a sales pitch, I'm going to use this opportunity as I can get it.
Yeah.
I hope all the young people that are listening to this show are people that are looking for careers to make a difference. Don't forget government.
Sure.
Come to government. Make a difference. If you don't like the way government works, this is one of the great things about being in the country we are in, and being in the state we're in, is you have an ability to change and do different things.
I love that.
So I would encourage anybody that even if you don't think about government, it's a great thing to think about.
So let's transition over to like your some of the things you've been working on. So what are some past projects that are innovative that you've been a part of in the city so far?
There's been a ton. Las Vegas lends itself to this. It makes it great. It's exciting. Great leadership. We had Betsy Fretwell as our city manager. We went Scott Adams and Jorge Cervantes, our current city manager. All very innovative mindsets. And of course, our city council and mayor, which allow us to do these things. But I think the things that stand out the most are the ones that I see as the most game-changing here coming in the future. The autonomous vehicle, 2016, 2017. I mean, when you think about that, that seems years ago. It's not that long ago.
Sure.
Less than 5 years ago, we had a real autonomous vehicle driving up and down the street. And so I look at that as a project of huge significance. It's kind of the showing Las Vegas and the citizens and the world that Las Vegas is serious about moving forward with technology.
Yeah, exactly.
You fast forward that, You had pre-pandemic, we had Aptiv. Everybody remembers the Aptiv BMWs. You know, we had a lot of the technology in the intersections where we were actually sending data to the vehicle. So we would tell the vehicle when the light was going to turn from green to red and red to green.
Wow.
And that would allow the onboard compute technology, the onboard technology to gauge its speed. So that it knew as it was approaching, okay, that light's going to change in 3 seconds. I'm going to slow my pace down.
Was it a multitude of different companies or organizations that you reached out to?
It is.
to be a part of that?
All these things are partnerships. And we have a great partnership with Clark County, obviously the city of Las Vegas, and then all the private people and companies that come together.
Tell us, you were just telling me before we started about the smart town, or what would you call it? The cell towers you guys were building?
Yeah, so
tell us a little about that. It's pretty cool.
So, you know, obviously during the pandemic, one of the challenges we have in Las Vegas is there are people that still are facing hardships and don't have access to broadband. A lot of us take for granted. I mean, I don't know what I would do without broadband. If I didn't have it, I don't know how I would function.
Sure.
But it's amazing, and that's where we in government, it's what makes government so much fun, is that we have a chance to help people. And so what we did is, prior to the pandemic, we were messing around with a private cellular network. Almost think of an AT&T, Verizon network, just smaller. And we wanted to use it to power sensors. Because one of the great things about IoT, and it's like all this technology in your studio, you got to have connectivity. Without connectivity, none of anything works.
No, exactly.
And so we wanted to do more in the innovation district downtown, and we couldn't get fiber, we couldn't get connectivity. So we said, hey, why don't we develop our own way of doing a cell network? So we developed it, and right as the pandemic started, we kind of had a euphoric moment. It was myself and a couple of others saying, hey, instead of powering sensors, why don't we try to use this technology to help people that don't have access because they can't afford it? Not that the access isn't in the street, but they just can't afford the monthly charges. And then how do we do it in a way that doesn't compete with private industry? Because we don't want to compete. We're not in it to compete with these people. We're in it just to help the community. And so we said, hey, what we could do is we could use a cell phone network and we'll build it out. And that's what we did. And so the state came along.
How cool is that?
It is awesome. I mean, the state of Nevada believed in us. The governor believed in us. And they provided us some funding. And in 35 days, so people don't think government can move fast. And in the total project, within 45 days, so early November, finally convinced everybody that I wasn't crazy, that I can make this work. Well, when you have somebody that you don't really, no one knows. I mean, they know me, but there's no proof. Hey, guess what, Nick? I just need a couple $100,000, and I'm going to build you a private cell network. Sure, Michael. Go sell somebody else. So when I told them I could make it work, they said, okay, let's make it work. So they gave me 45 days in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, to get this done. And we got it done. We got it up and running. We're going to probably have about anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 people in the next couple months that are actually on this network. And the beauty of it is that if you're at home, there's no wires or anything you have to configure. It uses Wi-Fi. So what we do is we give you a little modem. It's a small box, no bigger than maybe a small shoebox. And all you do is plug it in. And when you plug it in, it attaches to the cell network, which you don't see. We do. And then it has Wi-Fi. And then on the other end of it. So what happens is the student takes their Chromebook. They log on to the Wi-Fi. It goes onto the Wi-Fi. That modem converts the signal to cell, puts it onto our network. And then what we do is we take that network and drop it onto the school district. So it basically puts the student like they were in the classroom. So their internet's filtered. Everything that they have in the classroom from a computer experience is at home now.
Wow. And are you expanding outside the students, or?
We are. We're looking at doing a partnership with UNLV. We're looking at doing a partnership with CSN. I mean, imagine a community where you live in where, and even in my own home, I would love this. Because when I try to use the internet and my son's over, he sucks it all up with his online
video
gaming.
games.
And then I have my daughter who's chatting with I don't know who and streaming. And then there's nothing left for me.
Sure.
And so wouldn't it be great to have an educational network where that was for education, and your private that you pay for through a company would be for your entertainment purposes and other things.
To separate it.
And the beauty of that is, imagine living in a world where you don't have internet and you have to do homework. How do you get a job now? How do you do anything?
Nothing. I mean, it shuts down.
Some of the students in our community, can't go to school on a Sunday because the library's closed, so they can't get onto the free internet. And so, or imagine having to go to a Starbucks and sit in there. I love going to Starbucks and hanging out for a little bit. But if I'm trying to do serious work, that's not a place to do it. So this network really is going to provide a lot of opportunity We hope to grow it. The state, we looked at applying for some more funding.
Sure.
But no, we do. And then eventually maybe, apply it to people that are going through, look, this town is going to go through monumental change here in the next several months. I mean, the pandemic has advanced so many new technologies.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of workforce development training to do. We're going to need to provide people training. So what better way than to have a complete training network available? And then you start unlocking healthcare. What about instead of having people from assisted living facilities have to drive to the doctor, you mean
telehealth?
Telehealth.
Yeah.
We have a cell network. It's completely private. It's more private than Wi-Fi. It's got more security, more capability. And we can start doing so. Imagine being in a city where you have these options.
Are you looking to grow it throughout the city? Because I know you don't want to compete with the private companies. What is a long-term goal for it, or is it more of a testing ground for what could be?
I think it's going to be there's different. That's a great question. Part of me would love to see it grow. We are working with North Las Vegas to grow the network into their area to help their community. So it could be something that the whole region
adopts. Yeah.
No different than, would you want to live in a city with no roads?
No.
To me, connectivity is like a roadway.
Sure.
There's still private companies that build roads, that maintain the road, that operate roads. You can go to Orange County and get toll roads galore.
No.
And so, maybe there is a place in government where because again, we're not here to compete with private business. We're
Correct.
never going to, our download speeds, we're 25 down, 5 up. Okay, that is good for school.
Sure.
That is not going to be good for the average household.
No. Not for your son gaming.
No,
that's not going to work.
No, please. That wouldn't even, well, and I don't know these kids. We won't go too far to tangent. But he's playing, whatever he's playing, it changes constantly. But he's then watching YouTube. I thought I was good with electronics. He's watching a YouTube video, chatting with his friends on his headset while he's playing a game.
Yeah.
All three of these things, and they're all sucking up bandwidth. The phone's sucking up bandwidth. The game's sucking up bandwidth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Never ending.
It's never ending. But I think there is an opportunity for this technology to be used for education, for workforce development. So I think there's a way that government and private business can work together.
Yeah.
And again, to me, it's about the amenities. If we have this educational benefit, people will move here.
Yeah.
People will want to be here because they can get. It's no different than you live where you live because you like the area. You and I live very close. I live in Southern Highlands.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Southern Highlands wasn't, just for the record, because people, you work for the city of Las Vegas. Yes.
Yeah.
But when I moved here and I bought my house, it said Las Vegas. So I thought I was in the city.
Me too.
I did not know.
Most people don't know that.
No,
like the county and city split.
No, they don't know that. So, but I like Southern Highlands. One, it's close to the airport for me.
Correct.
It was close to UNLV, and it was close to going to California for me. So it was, and I love that area out there.
Yeah.
And so that's why I chose it. Obviously now if I ever upgrade or level up, I will find something in the city of Las Vegas that makes sense.
What is the perimeter of the city? Is it's like downtown?
So about the Stratosphere.
Okay.
That's the county side. Once you pass Stratosphere.
Got it.
And then we go all the way out to Summerlin, kind of up along there, up in Red Rock, that area, and then out towards more Creech, out that way, and then kind of come around. Come back.
Is Nellis is still the city?
Nellis is North Las Vegas.
I got
so you have
it.
North Vegas over
I lived
there
here for
well.
20 years almost, and I still don't know where I'm...
I've been coming out here for 20 years. I didn't know all these things. I didn't even know there was a North Las Vegas. I thought it was just Las Vegas.
Exactly. So we didn't deep dive into it, but your role as the Chief Innovation Officer, like how would you define that? What is your primary responsibility?
Mad scientist? No.
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it.
Yeah.
I look at it as two different roles. One, I have a really great team. I wouldn't have all the success and be here with you today if it wasn't for the great men and women that do the work every day. But it's really two functions. One of my functions is the day-to-day technology operations. It's keeping the network running, telephone service, your laptop works, those type of things. The other part of it is doing, and it's almost three parts. Part of it is bringing in new ideas, new technology, testing it, trying to get Las Vegas. We have CES.
Yeah.
Why don't we have CES all year and have these companies just demoing technology?
And didn't you do that
time?
in that?
Did.
Yeah.
We did.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, the innovation district. So we have the city council create this innovation district downtown, still there. We have an innovation center where we're trying to get more companies to come to Las Vegas. Not only is it important to bring them here, they bring jobs and opportunity.
Exactly.
And again, marketing and exposure. A lot of people ask me, Michael, you're always posting on LinkedIn, all these things that don't even deal with what you do, technology. You're talking about restaurants and that.
Yeah.
It's more to bring people aware that there's a lot to Las Vegas. It's more than a casino. You and I don't live in the casino.
No, and it's actually over the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, it's becoming less and less about gambling out here.
It is.
And gaming in general and the casinos. There's so much vibrancy in life, which is awesome.
It is. So part of my role is that, and that kind of evolved into economic development.
Okay.
Helping bring, so I talk to a lot of, because I do work in tech.
Sure.
I talk to a lot of small upstart companies, and my I'm not biased at all.
Yeah.
But if they're in San Jose, I tell them, why would you want to be there?
Yeah.
High taxes. Your commute is horrible.
And the competition to find good talent.
And I said, come to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Great tax climate. You can take your clients out to the best restaurants. We have a great airport. In some ways, I'm selfish. I want to keep all that secret because I like it the way it is. But, at some point, it's great to be able to do that. So, I do multiple roles, but they're all fun. They're all exciting.
Yeah.
And it's just a great time to be in Las Vegas. And it's getting better. I mean, even the pandemic has been very rough.
Sure.
It's been hard for business. It's been hard for our community.
Yes.
But I think, we're slowly getting through that. And I think in next year is going to be, incredible.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because obviously the world's been going through a tough time. In Vegas, we live on, large gatherings of people, events, nightclubs, restaurants, shows. When do you see us getting out of this hump, and where do you see the future of the city?
I honestly think, I'm thinking October, November, we're picking up steam. This time next year, it's going to be people, I think Matt Maddox from Wynn has called it the Roaring 20s again. And my business partner said the same thing. I'm going to agree with that.
Exactly how you described it.
That's how I'm going to describe it. It's going to be the Roaring 20s. I look at Vegas. I mean, look at what we're building right now in the pandemic. We're still, I'm putting out probably 1 or 2 articles a week about new restaurants, new office buildings. Summerlin is booming.
Yep.
Henderson is booming.
New casinos are opening up.
Casinos are actually new hotels with no casino.
Yeah.
The Majestic.
Yeah.
A brand new property.
Yeah.
It's literally amazing. We also have some brand new companies. We have the first company, Halogenics, with a wet lab, which is basically biomed.
Oh, wow.
And you don't think of Las Vegas and
No,
biomed.
that's like East Coast,
but it's or San Diego or East Coast.
East Coast, yep.
And so it's exciting. We have that in one of our we have 2 innovation centers, and the other one has Halogenics, which is a phenomenal company doing some great genome work. But it's everything. We even had the first drive-through. It's gonna be in Henderson. First drive-through pizza place where you actually it's like going to Blaze and standing in line.
Oh, wow.
But you get in your car and you look at the person through a glass window. They're making your pizzas, and by the time you get while they're making the pizza, they have a bunch of entertainment. You're driving through like a tunnel.
Oh, it's genius.
And then when you get to the end, they open the car door, they give you your pizza, and then you can go home.
God, we're gonna be a lazy society one day.
It's gonna be it's incredible. I'm already feeling bad now. But everything here, I think, is very positioned very well for a lot of growth. And UNLV is doing a lot of great things in tech now. They're opening a cyber school for cybersecurity. So we're even our universities and our culture in general is moving towards more tech.
Yeah, and you see UNLV expanding. One of our clients, Nevada State College, they're always innovating, building new, buildings and bring on new services. So it's awesome to see. It starts with education, right? And
it does.
And really driving. And Nevada has a kind of a bad rap for having bad schools, but what people forget, that's the aggregate, right? But when you look at it on a micro level, there's a ton of great schools out here, so.
And I always take exception to that. This is how I look at it, is that fundamental tests, and I'm not to get philosophical here, but fundamental tests are one thing.
Sure.
The people's heart and soul here and the diversity here, I will put up against
anything.
So maybe a school that gets from a standardized test, we have performed not as well as others.
Yeah.
I would definitely challenge any other location that has the same type of work ethic, people, diversity, idea creation.
Yeah.
Who comes up with all these great things that we come up with?
I know.
You don't see it anywhere else other than here.
It's funny when you travel. Like I go to a nice hotel, even in a different location. The service is terrible. It's just, we've just mastered the art of, and we're a resilient group of people. We always bounce back. The housing market crisis, was it 2008? Devastating. I had to short sell my home. If you didn't know someone that either went through foreclosure or short sold their home, but everybody just didn't give up, bounced back, and hit the pavement, basically.
Well, look where we live. We live in a place where we're not supposed to live. This is the desert with no water.
Yeah.
Lake Mead's almost dried out, but we're still here.
Yeah.
And we're still building. We're still growing. New projects are still coming. So
What are some new, like, is there any new projects that are kind of under wraps that people don't know about that you might know ahead of time, or maybe that are just starting? I know that Elon Musk is doing the boring.
Well, if I know of anything like that, I can't tell you. I can't tell you anyways. But
okay.
I will say you got on one. I mean, look, and it just came out, so maybe not everybody knows about it yet. But obviously, Elon Musk built the Boring Company underneath the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
He is getting ready now to expand that. So you're going to be able to go from the convention center. This is brilliant. From there to the Wynn, and from there to World Resorts, all underground.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I've been to Tokyo several times and all over my travels, but it's great when you have that different modes of getting around a city.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and I honestly think the Boring Tunnel will go to the airport here in the next couple of years as well. So imagine landing here, because when I used to come here, it was always a hassle. You landed, you have to get a taxi. They never take you the quickest way.
Sure.
You know, it was always a hassle. And then you couldn't get one when you needed one.
Yeah.
And so imagine getting off a plane here in Vegas and just getting into the Boring Tunnel and going right to your hotel.
Yeah.
And then from the hotel right to the convention center.
How cool is that?
I mean, it's going to be
convenience.
It's going to be what Vegas is known for: service, convenience. You've said it. I mean,
yeah.
It's going to be like no other. You won't be able to go anywhere else to get what we have.
No, I don't think so. It's very unique.
It is unique.
Yeah.
And again, we're the first.
Yep.
You don't see Boring Company going anywhere else to build this.
No.
They're coming here.
Yeah, Elon's done with California, I think.
I think so. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
I'm as somebody who grew up and was raised there, I won't go back to California. I will say it on this show. I will never ever go back and work or live there.
No.
Just not for, I mean, I love to visit it. I'll visit California.
Sure.
But as far as there's no, I mean, once I came here, I really don't see leaving Las Vegas ever.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of when you talk about government versus private. It's like so heavy government, but in a, I hate to use the word authoritarian rule, where you're like, you don't have as much freedoms.
There's no innovation.
No,
There's no ability to express oneself. There's no ability. You have no financial, from a business perspective, you are regulated into oblivion.
Yeah, or taxed.
Or taxed
yeah.
to oblivion, and both.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, it's great for us. It's a great benefit. It's a great state. It's given me a lot.
Of course.
So I'm not completely down on California, but from a financial and business perspective, I don't know why you would have a company or start a company in California.
Yeah, Las Vegas is turning into like a little suburb of California.
It is. People don't like that, though, when you say that. The people that have been here more than 20 years, or like you, don't like that.
Trust me, I'm not a big fan of that.
But they don't like. Well, look at. I mean, and I understand why the prices are. Everything's going up.
Oh yeah. So I just sold my house. I told my wife when the pandemic hit, I'm like, I got the vibe of '08 again. I'm like, we made some good money on it, but I was like, let's sell because I think prices will go down.
Yep.
Boy, was I wrong. I mean. Homes are flying off the shelves. Prices are actually still going up, even during the pandemic, which is crazy.
I don't see it. So a lot of people have asked me, is there a bubble? And the answer for me is right now, I don't see a bubble at all.
Yeah.
You see it's demand.
Yep.
People, now that remote work is, before the pandemic, remote work was for the few.
Sure.
Now it's mainstream. People are working from home. And so why live in California and pay all that tax? Why not move here?
Yep.
Remember when I had in California, I paid $2,200 a month for my apartment in Irvine, and it was smaller than your studio.
Yeah.
So this studio is huge, and that was my kitchen, bathroom, shower, everything.
Yeah.
$2,200 a month. This was almost a whole paycheck.
And that was back when?
That was 6-7 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably at least $1,000 more now.
I'm sure
probably.
It's closer to $3,000. So imagine coming here. For $2,000 a month, I mean, I could, from an apartment perspective, I don't know. I could
live in large.
I could live in large.
Yeah.
I could be living.
You could rent a house for $2,000.
A nice house.
Yeah.
A nice house. And so you take that money, unlock it, and imagine moving here and buying a house. You can get still a decent home here for $300, $400. Depends on what you want. Cheaper if you want.
Yeah.
And your mortgage payments $700, $800, maybe $1,500 a month.
Yeah. And I grew up in New Jersey, so real. It's like the California of the East Coast, and sometimes I love my buddies, but sometimes I'm like, why do you guys live there? I got 22 inches of snow. I walked outside and I was wearing shorts.
Yeah.
Between that and the low cost of living, it's like I'm surprised even more people aren't moving here at this rate.
Just think of the amenities we have. So I grew up in Irvine, but then I moved down to San Diego. I lived in North County, so it doesn't matter if you know California that well or not. But if I wanted to get to the airport, it was an hour just to drive there.
Oh, wow.
Then you have to get there an hour early.
Yeah.
Here, 20 minutes. I don't care where you live. Maybe the longest it would take you is 45 minutes, 30 to 45.
Yeah.
And that's because you live in Sky way out there.
Yeah.
But, where you and I live, or even if you live downtown, it's 20 to 30 minutes to the airport.
And back in New Jersey where I grew up, if you wanted to go to the grocery store, 15, 20 minutes.
It's a day outing.
It's a day outing.
It's shot.
And it's funny how fast you get spoiled living out here.
You
I
do.
remember my wife moved out from North Carolina, and she's like, "Oh, she's like, what's the big deal with it? 15 minutes." I'm like, "Trust me, once you settle in, you're not going to want to go past 5 minutes to go to a bar or restaurant or." Yeah.
No, when I go back to California, it takes me 20 minutes to just go across town.
Yeah.
I'm already cursing. I'm ready to go back.
Yeah,
Take me back to Vegas. Take me back.
That's what I love about this town, though. Is like there's something to do everywhere, always. It's amazing. Right?
Here's why the housing market won't go down. Just think about these things, and if half of them come to fruition, it's going to be huge. Then you have the express train. They're talking about running the high-speed rail from here to California. So imagine working in California, hopping on the train at night, and coming home.
Yeah.
No payroll tax.
Is that going to happen? I've been hearing about that train for a long time.
You and I were wee little lads. I honestly think it's going to happen. It's happened in Florida. It's going to happen because demand is going to be here. California is pricing itself out of the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so demand's going to be here. And then if they widen the freeway, again, that more opportunity.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't see housing prices here. You know, I hope they plateau a little bit. We have been doing a fast acceleration, but I hope it calms down a little bit and let some of the people here catch their breath, get some jobs back here, so that some of the people that have lived here for a long time can go back in and buy something. Because we don't want to leave people behind. That's one of the things we don't want to do.
Yeah, 100%. I guess my gamble's not going to pay off then. So we rented for a year, waiting for prices to go down, thinking they would, and they're not.
Well, maybe you're running for a couple more years. I don't see them going down. Hopefully they'll level off.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about the pandemic. You know, there was turmoil, right? And a lot of businesses suffered and et cetera. But when there's turmoil, there's always innovation, right? There's always new things that come out. Have you heard or seen anything new or you know, like the pizzeria concept you were talking about? That's kind of similar to like what's going on with like people staying in their car. Is there anything like that you've seen or you think will come out of the pandemic itself that's positive?
We've seen a lot of things, actually. I mean, City of Las Vegas passed an ordinance not that long ago where we can sell alcohol now. So you can go. It used to be when you went to a restaurant to get pickup food, you couldn't buy alcohol there. You could only take the food. Then you had to go home and buy your own alcohol or go find it somewhere else. So now you can go to a restaurant that serves alcohol and you can take that and carry it with you. They're also doing drive-by. You can drive by and pick up on the curb like you can McDonald's or anything else.
And that's here to stay.
That's here to stay. I don't think those kind of innovations or changes are going to go back. And then just recently, I know they're here. Drizzly, I think is the name of it. You can go out and whatever you like. I like wild turkey myself, so you can go look online and it shows you all the different prices of wild turkey. Yeah. And you can pick it and they bring it to your house. So
I think I ordered that during the pandemic.
Drop off. Yeah, I'm a VIP member now. But no, I mean, I think a lot of those type of things. I think you know Mr. Beast, or you probably heard of Mr. Beast.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, he launched. I mean, who would have thought? He launched 350 restaurants across the nation in a week. He did it here. He's in Las Vegas. That's a whole new vertical. Virtual restaurants where you never go to a brick and mortar establishment are here, and I don't see that change going back. I don't know how much. I see a lot smaller footprints now of companies. They're doing not having the big brick and mortar. They're small brick and mortar, but then doing virtual. So everything then you know pushing it out through the internet or delivery. So I think a lot of that around the food is going to stay that way. One of the innovations I hope that stays is no parking in casinos.
Yes.
I hope we stop
no more charges.
the charges. You know, there should be some perks of living here.
At least for locals.
At least for
throw
locals.
Us a bone.
Yeah,
you know?
throw us a bone. I hope that innovation of getting rid of it. I've been going around. So Caesars and Wynn and all of them have got rid of that, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
I think you'll see there'll be a lot of other innovations. The remote work thing that's people look at everybody. It's a huge deal, and I don't think that's going to go back to the way it was.
You know, from my experience, we did it, and obviously we were already doing it. We did work from home Wednesday, so every Wednesday we'd set up shop before the pandemic.
Got room for me?
Yeah.
I want to come over here work from home Wednesdays.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because it kind of broke the week up midway. But so we did that before the pandemic, and then when things hit, we were already set up with business as usual. The only thing is, I realized, I missed our team. We have a real strong culture and things like that, and there was the gel was missing a little bit. It
does.
So now we're doing like kind of a hybrid where we work from home Monday, Tuesdays, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we're here in the office, and just feels good,
It does.
So I don't know if virtual will always be 100%, but I think that hybrid model is
You're going to find the right mix, and I think companies will experiment with what that right mix is. There is a mix out there until there's more AI or virtual reality where I can actually see you, like almost touch you.
Yeah.
And then but there is the pandemic has taught us a lot of things. In order for high functioning teams or businesses to work, there has to be interaction.
Sure.
You can't do everything behind a WebEx or a Zoom call. It's just not going to work.
No, people starve for human connection,
They do.
relationships,
They do.
and when you work somewhere, you spend more time at work sometimes than at home. So those are your friends. Those are people you hang out with after work.
Yeah.
So
you have a tight connection.
Exactly. So, before the pandemic, there was a lot of new things like the MGM Madison Square Garden Sphere was being built, the casinos. My favorite, Golden Knights. We got the Raiders.
Yeah.
For me, as someone that's lived here since 2002, the city's changed so much, and I think for the first time, like the last few years, it's like real things, quote unquote, not casinos or gaming environments, real organizations. I mean, for us to have sports franchises is massive. That brings in tourism. I don't know if you've been to a Knights game, but they're a blast to go to.
Come on now,
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't usually remember them by the time I leave, but
No.
But where do you see the city in 10 to 20 years? I mean, I know it's a loaded question, but any idea of where you see us going?
I mean, I think you see some of the underpinnings right now. I think games like Candy Crush and those are going to evolve into online gaming for dollars, and I think we'll be the mecca of that location here. Sports betting, come on, BetMGM. I mean, all the casinos now are working on sports betting apps.
Yep.
Sports is going to be big for us. I would say in the next 3 to 5 years, I think baseball's coming.
I hope so, yeah.
And I honestly believe NBA is not as far away as people think.
I would think they would come even before baseball.
I think so.
Because hockey arenas are set up for it.
I think you'll see basketball here 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I think baseball will follow right on. We don't have really an area for baseball yet, a large stadium for it. But I think those two will come, and we'll really, I mean, we're already, with the Knights here, they started it. We got the Silver Knights as well.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be a mainstream city. And, people never thought of us as that way. We were always like a second-tier city.
And we were. For a long time.
Yeah. When I lived in California, I made fun of Vegas all the time. They don't have a sports team. That's not a real city without a sports team.
Although people in LA don't show up to the games, most of them, right?
Well, because if we lose, we don't want to go. We don't support losing teams. I'm a Rams fan, so I've always, when I was little, I was a Rams fan. I was only a Rams fan when they were winning. When they were losing, I didn't want to talk about them. Yeah, we're good. But no, we have a great sports culture. I honestly think over the next 20 years, Vegas will always be an entertainment destination.
Sure.
But it's going to be it's going to be just like a large metropolitan city.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have some key verticals. I think technology will be one of those verticals that we're known for because of the gaming aspects of it. I also think between the cannabis industry, we're going to do a lot of firsts in that. Technology will play into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be there. I think transportation, drone delivery.
Yeah.
That we're already set up. We're one of very few states that have really great regulations around aerial vehicles. And you have the Air Force here. So I think, drone and drone delivery. And I'm looking forward to what I'm hoping, and I would say 7 years, is being able to hop on my own personal vehicle / helicopter / airplane.
I'll let you go first.
Cruise that. I'm more than happy to go first. More than happy.
Yeah.
And fly into work.
Yeah.
We may not even own cars at that point. I don't know. We might lease them, or do digital sharing.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly think that everything's moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to be, Vegas is always going to be one of those iconic cities. I don't think you're ever going to change that aspect of it. It's just, we're going to be known. At the end of the day, we're going to be known more than just gambling.
And people are always worried. Like I remember when Macau was starting to grow, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's going to ruin Vegas." And then they legalized sports handicapping in New Jersey, and casinos are popping up all over. This town will always be a destination, like you said. I think
it is. I mean, since I've been growing up, you just look at the changes that I've been. When I was a little kid, you wanted to go to Circus. That was the big deal when I was a kid. And at that time, it was, watched a trapeze show. Your parents were downstairs gambling. You were locked up in the little arcade area. Seriously, it was a chain link fence, and your dad would give him like 20
I like
bucks.
that concept.
They would, hey, mine are a little old now. I'd be in trouble if I locked mine up. But but no, I mean, you have that. And then you remember Wynn came in, and it was all about the experience. You had Treasure Island, you had Mirage, and then came Bellagio, and it was a whole, remember that family, it was family and fun. Then we ditched that, and we went into, what happens here stays here.
Exactly.
And so you look at that, Vegas from its beginnings of time has been a culture of recreation, innovation, and it's always been ahead of the times.
Always.
And so, I mean, look at Circa downtown. No one would have ever thought in the middle of a pandemic you would launch and finish it.
Sure.
Finish a casino.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful.
And Resorts World, is that opening
almost?
Yet? Yeah.
Should be open. I think this summer.
Oh, cool.
Of 2021. So, you have a lot of new things coming on board. You got the Sphere coming.
Yeah.
So Vegas is a culture of evolution. It's a culture that's always innovating, and that's because of the people that are here.
Yeah, very unique mix.
It is.
So Vegas is known as or to people outside the city, as like a party town, where you go and you go to nightclubs or whatever. But there's a lot more to it, right? There's so many activities, outdoor places to travel. What are, just to get into some personal questions, what are some things you like to do, either here locally, outside of the office? Do you take short drives to Sedona? Like, what are some things in the vicinity you like to do?
Locally, what I like to do, I mountain bike a lot. So I love Vegas. Great mountain biking, great biking trails in general.
Sure.
So I love that. I also love nature and going out. So I love going to the Valley of Fire. You like going up to Red Rock occasionally. I love Willow Beach. So I like a little kayaking, getting out on the water. I'm a surfer and skater. So, going to California occasionally, surfing, that's a big deal for me. I have a daughter who loves Disneyland. So I lived, when I grew up, Irvine's maybe 20, 30 minutes from Disneyland. It's not a big deal to me. I've been there. My daughter loves it. So you're a dad. You're going to go. You're going to go. It's hard to say no to your daughter.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. I can say no to almost 99% of the known world. I cannot say no to her.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy going to Disneyland, and it's more fun watching her have fun.
Yeah.
But no, I like to get out and explore new things. I love going to and it's part of being in Vegas is that I love new restaurants. I love new food. I love meeting new people. It lends itself all to that.
It's a great hub.
It is.
Because it's like we're like in the center of everything. You go to short drive, you're at Zion National Park.
Yeah.
You get the Lake Mead. So I always tell my wife, she's everything. She misses the East Coast. Sometimes I'm always like, we can't leave here.
No.
I'd rather get a house out there, like a beach house or something like that, because there's conventions here. So for business, it's fantastic.
It's a fantastic place.
Weather. I mean, you can't beat it.
You can't beat it. It's a great place to be. And so I never see myself leaving.
Yeah. So you've done a lot in your life, and you've experienced a lot and done public stuff, private. I'm sure learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes. But what are some things that you want to evolve in professionally? Like, you mentioned you want to get your doctorate. Tell us a little bit more. Like, where do you see Michael, in the next few years?
I want to be a content creator. I want to do more podcasts. I want to do more. I love creating things and sharing with people. So I'm really, doing that. The doctorate was more because no one in my family has ever had a doctorate.
Yeah. So it's a personal goal.
It's more of a personal goal and not really to use it. I do teach at UNLV as an adjunct professor. I enjoy teaching students. But no, I really want to give you a little competition, run into content.
You can use this anytime.
But no, doing YouTube content. I love real estate.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to get in. I'm entrepreneurial at heart.
Yeah.
And so I'm really more interested in entrepreneurial type tasks, new economies, cryptocurrencies, those type of things excite me.
I don't know anything about those.
I know a little bit, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
It's a new area. It's not too late. You can jump in.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of opportunities. Where I see myself, when obviously being here in Las Vegas. But at some point, really being a creator. I enjoy creation. I enjoy my time when I was in an ad agency. Was one of the best jobs, other than having a ton of beautiful people working with me. That was great.
Yeah.
But the creative opportunity was also excellent as well. But no, I really see myself giving back to Las Vegas as well. I'd love to be able to create a business here that I can hire and employ people and give back to the community. I love creating things.
Yeah.
And building them, and then once it's not shiny anymore, I kind of move over.
I notice a pattern there, right?
Yeah. So I like creating it, and I'll give it to somebody else and let them take off with it.
That's awesome. Well, that's one of the nice things about your job at the city is that you can do a lot of different projects.
Yes.
So it never gets old, right?
It doesn't get old. No, it's always fun. It's always challenging. It's always exciting.
So what would you say your advice would be, learning as you grow to a young professional, maybe a college student coming out right now, which is a tough time to come out, and they wanted to get into technology? What advice would you give them?
The best advice is you got to get out there. Don't be afraid to use tools, social media. I'm surprised somebody like yourself who has a business here that's very successful, doesn't have people reaching out. If I was a young person and I know what I know today, I'd be your worst enemy because I'd be emailing you. Hey, can I come have a free internship? Can I come help you? And a lot of business leaders like yourself most likely would say, yeah, free internship, come on down.
Yeah.
And I think, the biggest thing is people don't want to reach out. They want it handed to them. And you got to work for it.
Always. Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing for people is don't be afraid to reach out. People want you. You would love, I know you and what I know of you. You want to help people. Every business person I've met in this town, in any town, always wants to help people.
Sure.
But no one's going to help you if you don't help yourself.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, about college, and something my wife and I always argue about it. Like I always looked at the School of Hard Knocks of my first job at Light Group as my college education. What I learned in college was more like, living, moving. I moved from New Jersey back to actually Arizona. I went to school out there. Being on your own, meeting new people, hitting deadlines, stuff like that. But the real meat and potatoes came from, real work, live experience. And you can't replace
that. You can't, no. Partnerships, mentorships. I wish I could go back and all the money I invested in my college and just put that away in even a stock or a bank account or something.
Yeah.
And then just invested in myself in learning things and having a mentor. I think finding a true mentor that can help you is way more important than necessarily, more like I believe in Elon Musk's idea. Education is important.
Sure.
But do you need a 4-year college degree to be successful?
Yeah.
And my answer is no, but you need education in certain verticals if you want to be successful. If
Without
you
a doubt.
In business, you need to know how to write and do certain things. Do you need a degree for that? And my answer would be no.
Yeah, because you on the job, that's what I say. An internship is a valuable experience. We actually have 2 that just started for us, and we're going to throw a lot of different things at them, because our goal, I told them, ideally you do a great job and you work your butt off and then you get hired, or worst case scenario, you learn a lot and you can apply that somewhere else.
Well, no one can take away something. Once you've learned it, they can't take it back.
Exactly.
And so to me, I think you're doing the right, and that's what's going to make Vegas, that's what's going to give Vegas the opportunity of the future is if we really work and embrace people and help build, because so many people get frustrated here and then leave.
Yeah.
Because there's no tech job. There's no this. Yeah. And I always tell people that there are jobs here. You got to look for them though. They're not going to be, you just, apply and you're going to get it.
Sure.
It's a global world now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're competing with people, you and I even, we're competing with people not just locally, but across the U.S. and across the world.
Oh, yeah. We work with people. I have, freelancers and people work with that are in Ukraine and Romania and California. I mean, it's the way the world is.
It is.
It's global.
It is. It's global. So, no, I think mentorships are the best way is finding a mentor that wants to spend some time with you, helping you grow.
Yeah. So the final question.
All right, I'm ready for it.
This is the hot seat question. It's kind of ridiculous. So we can edit this out if you don't like it.
We won't edit it. I don't like editing.
So I asked my creative director the same question. So you worked for 3 different mayors, right?
Yes.
Do you remember them when you worked with them? Like their names?
Yeah, most of them, yes.
Okay, so maybe the question won't be as good, but
yeah, it could be.
All right, so the mayor of Irvine, the mayor of Oceanside, and the mayor of Las Vegas are hanging on a cliff.
Yep.
Who do you save and why?
Wow. That is a hot seat question. I'm going to have to, well, geez, there's 2 of them for sure I want to save.
One is already gone.
One is already gone.
We won't say who that is.
No, we won't go in that one. Well, we can. I'm going to go into a tie. It's going to be between the mayor of Oceanside and the mayor of Las Vegas.
Okay.
Both dynamic. They're both very same personalities. That's why it's hard for me. I gravitate towards people who are dynamic leaders.
Yeah.
And so obviously Mayor Carolyn Goodman is the mayor of Las Vegas, and Mayor Dick Lyon was the mayor of Oceanside during most of my tenure.
Yeah.
He was the first SEAL commander, so he was a very dynamic, strong guy. I'm I'm going to have to go. I'm going to save Mayor Goodman, and here's why.
It's your job?
No, not because of my job. That's a good answer, though. I like that. Yeah. No, I'm going to go with Mayor Goodman because I'm going to figure Mayor Lyon, who's an ex-SEAL, if he falls off the cliff, he's going to have some kind of whiz-bang tool.
See
and
that?
he's going to get himself, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
The Mayor Goodman, I think, would be okay as well. She's a very strong lady, tough lady. I love her.
Yeah.
But I'm going to save her, one, because you got it. She's my current employer, so I'm going to hold on to her.
Yeah.
And I'm still a guy that believes in chivalry. So I'm going to take care of the Madam Mayor first.
Yeah. My whole team is like, are you really going to ask Michael Sherwood that question?
And hope the SEAL team guy can figure it out on the way down.
Exactly.
But no, I think it's a great question. I don't see those questions as being, those are fun. Yeah. So no, I mean, that's what I would go with. Irvine, the only reason I didn't pick Irvine Mayor is that they don't fit the mold that they work, and I think I alluded to this earlier.
Yeah.
It's a very conservative city.
Yeah.
It's a great city. Don't get me wrong. I love it. People that go to Irvine Spectrum, Irvine's a very safe city. At least when I was there, it was the safest city for many years.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of great people. But I like Irvine will never be a Vegas. It's never going to break barriers, break loose. And that's what's different about even the two California cities I worked at versus Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Las Vegas has, it's just the heart of the city. It's just the heart of the people too.
So are you sticking here long term? Like if you're retired, are you going to move anywhere else, or are you going to?
I'll never move. I will always have a home here. You know, now if I win the lottery, will I get a care? And I'll invite you, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
If I'm in the Maldives, I'll throw you a bone.
I'll remember that. Let me write that down.
Yeah. I'll spend some time out there.
Yeah.
But I'll never abandon. Vegas is my home. I mean, I honestly, my parents should have raised me here, and it seems more of a home to me than any place else I've been. I love Irvine. I love it here.
Yeah,
I love it here.
And that's the kind of the whole point of our podcast is to talk about Vegas Forward, is just the growth and the resiliency of our constituents that live here and where the city's going. It's always changing. It's an exciting place to live. Every time you drive down the street, there's like, oh, that's a new place.
There is.
And it's during the crisis right now, and people are still pushing through and making things happen. And I think it says a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of people that come and go, and it used to be even more transient. Mm-hmm. But you're seeing a lot of people. The people that stick are the ones that kind of enjoy the chaos a little bit here. You
You always have detractors that, and I look at it this way. It's almost like New York. If you can make it here in Vegas, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy town either.
Sure.
But it's a rewarding town. It's fun.
Yeah.
And so. Back to your question about the three mayors. Now, if you asked me if they were all on the cliff and I had a VIP pass to Dre's, back in the day, I would have dumped all three of them and taken the VIP pass to Dre's, man.
Me too. I would have been there. We probably crossed paths.
We probably did. I was probably in that corner that you walked by. It's always dark down there. I was passed out in the corner somewhere.
Yeah, there's all those places are closed, man.
Back in the Shays, that was the day. It was underground. I don't like the up.
Do you remember the beach with the?
Of course, that was over by the
with the foam parties and stuff.
Yep. I remember that. I kind of miss. Too.
I actually think that Vegas is going to move back a little bit towards those days.
I hope so.
Like it was getting a little bit for me. Maybe it's old man talk, but all these celebrities like Kim Kardashian is going to be here and that, and it doesn't really do much for me.
No.
And I think maybe there's a positive pivot back to where we were, right? In a way.
Yeah, I don't look at it as taking a step back. I look at it as taking a step forward and going back to what was right.
Exactly.
We should have never changed it.
Exactly.
We should be moving forward. Vegas forward.
Free
Vegas
parking.
Strong, free parking. We're talking about the new Vegas.
Yeah.
The reemergence. It always is emergent. But that's the thing about we live here. As much as things change, they remain the same.
Yeah.
The same good people, the same good opportunities. Vegas is full of opportunity. I mean, I look at you guys. You probably, you'll probably grow out of this building. I think
so.
Next 3 to 4 years. I'm seriously. I think that there is so much opportunity here.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't pick a better name for your show. Couldn't have a better first guest either. In my mind.
No, it was amazing talking to you today, Michael, and thanks for everything you do for the city, and it's an honor to have you. We all talked about it, and I was like, this is our first guest right here because you have a lot of interesting things to say and interesting things for people to learn about. So just want to say thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Like I said, it's so much fun. We could go on for another hour. I could keep talking to you all day. I still want to know what you're doing for working out, man. You look like I haven't seen you all ripped up, but no, it's been great being here today.
Cool, thanks, man.
I hope you bring me back.
All right, we will.
All
Appreciate
right.
it. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.